can!
It's over!
He's done it again! Unbelievable!
Oh, straight into the roof of the net.
Nice one.
Straight down the middle. So,
Hi, welcome to Firstpost. I'm Rupha Ramani. Let's get the show started. Right on the show today, Indian superstars were humbled in domestic cricket. Rohit Sharma, Yashasvi Jaiswal, Shubman, Gill, Rishabh Pant, Shreyas all have had a horrid start to their comeback domestic stint. Fans left the stadium disappointed. Is the BCCI patting its back for getting this right and giving them a reality check? Novak Djokovic's quest for a record 25th slam ends on a very bitter note. Fans boo him off the court as the former world number one retired from his semi-final against Alexander Zverev after losing the first set. So was the Serb actually playing through pain in the quarterfinal? Will his critics retract and will the hate stop? And Lewis Hamilton takes his first big ride in the Ferrari, witnessed by thousands gathered around. But what's happening behind closed doors? Word is that Ferrari is doing their best to brainwash Hamilton and erase his Mercedes memories, literally. How is that? Stay tuned for more. But first, a look at the headlines on Sports 360. Starting with cricket, India's cricket stars pacer Jasprit Bumrah, all-rounder Ravindra Jadeja and opener Yashasvi Jaiswal have been named in the ICC Test Team of the Year for 2024. Bumrah was India's top performer as he picked 71 wickets in 13 tests last year. Australian skipper Pat Cummins has been named as captain of this 11. In football, struggling Manchester United came in good finally during their Europa League clash against Rangers FC. The match was headed to a draw after Rangers equalised in the 88th minute, but captain Bruno Fernandes saved the day for Ruben Amorim with a stoppage time winner. On to tennis, world number one Aryna Sabalenka eased through to her third consecutive Australian Open final. Sabalenka beat Paula Badosa in straight sets. Having won the last two Australian Open titles, Sabalenka is aiming for a three-peat. Meanwhile, Sabalenka's opponent in the final, Madison Keys, overcame a grueling three-set thriller against Iga Świątek after losing the first set. Keys won the match 5-7, 6-1, 7-6, but controversy erupted here too. Świątek was accused of using dirty tactics after she took a long toilet break post the second set. And summing it up with news from basketball, the duo of Anthony Davis and LeBron James continued their dominant run, taking Los Angeles Lakers to a 117-96-point win over Boston Celtics. The win helped Lakers move up to the 5th spot in the Western Conference points table. Everyone who said Indian cricketers needed to get back to domestic cricket, needed to get back to the grind and find their feet, their rhythm, their momentum once again, must all be feeling very validated. I can imagine Ravi Shastri, the former India cricketer who in his bombastic style said Virat and Rohit Sharma must go back to domestic cricket. He must be secretly doing a self-pat. Because almost everyone, all the Indian team players seem to have got a reality check. Ranji Trophy matches kicked off yesterday across many parts of the country, a few that many had an eye on. Mumbai playing Jammu and Kashmir, Delhi playing Saurashtra, Punjab taking on Karnataka. These were the few matches that almost everybody had their eyes on because these matches had star-studded lineups. Let's focus on the Mumbai game first. Any lineup that has names like Rohit Sharma, Ajinkya Rahane, Yashasvi Jaiswal, Shreyas Iyer and Shivam Dube ought to be the overwhelming favourites, especially with the bat. But on day one, that came crashing down. Choosing to bat first on a track that was juicy enough, Mumbai were bowled out for 120 runs. This was the individual scores of that famed batting lineup. Rohit Sharma, Yashasvi Jaiswal, Shreyas Iyer and Shivam Dube all getting dismissed rather cheaply and in single-digit scores. Iyer, of course, barring Iyer, who made 11. Shardul Thakur, who was once in the national scheme of things but not anymore, was the lone spark, scoring a 50 to take Mumbai across the 100-run total. Rohit and Jaiswal did not trouble the scorers too much, batting a second time earlier today either. Got to their 20s before throwing it away. Now, BKC ground, where the match is underway, is in the middle of offices, all the biggest banks, all of it surrounding the stadium. In fact, the match on day one saw many turn up to catch a glimpse of India's captain, hoping to see a masterclass. A huge section of fans were utterly disappointed within the hour and actually walked out. And the disappointment is understandable, especially when the destructor-in-chief was a tall, lanky 6 feet 4 inch Kashmiri pacer. Umar Mir wreaked havoc, dismissing Mumbai's top stars. Rohit Sharma was the first to be snapped up, Umar trapping the Indian captain in a delivery that left Rohit indecisive, top-edging it. In fact, Mir later said he did not wish to celebrate. He was quiet about his celebrations after taking that wicket, especially Rohit's wicket, because he was a fan. He shattered Ajinkya Rahane's stumps and sent back Shivam Dube for a 3-ball duck. Umar made his debut back in 2013. He's played 57 matches in his red ball career so far and has picked up 138 wickets at an average under 30. The 31-year-old, in fact, is having a good campaign for Jammu and Kashmir. Currently, this season, he's picked up 17 wickets at an average of just under 15. This Kashmiri fast bowler kept veterans and Team India cricketers hopping, threatening to oust the defending champions themselves. And it was not just the match that gave India stars a reality check. Rishabh Pant was dismissed trying to slog, and that too cheaply. He did not trouble the scoreboard either, nor did India's new vice-captain Shubman Gill in his innings during the Punjab game against Saurashtra, raising questions on, of course, their poor form and refusal to indulge in domestic matches when they can. The only bright news was from Ravindra Jadeja, who put in a solid performance with the ball. He picked up a fifer against Delhi. The meme factory, of course, was very busy mocking the turn of events. In fact, Rohit Sharma was absolutely livid with himself when he got out the second time as well. He really looked pretty decent, was playing a very T20 fast-paced game before he got dismissed. Not the kind of situation, of course, that the likes of Rohit Sharma, Rishabh Pant and Shreyas Iyer would like to be in. They are international superstars, cricketers. And for them to be dismissed in the way that they have, without really scoring and creating any impact in their respective games, is very humbling and a little humiliating too. Especially when just some days ago, these players collectively seemed to be upset with BCCI's new diktat and rules. Rohit Sharma's leaked conversation with Ajit Agarkar, the chief selector, testifying that. So what does this say then? That the board was right all along, that India cricketers who felt they were above the law, above the sport, and that they did not need to prove themselves repeatedly in domestic cricket, needed to see this for themselves, a reality check. And maybe this has come at the right time too. There's a big ICC event that's around the corner, ICC Champions Trophy, that's all the buzz. And it's these players who are under the spotlight leading up to it and have to deliver on the big stage. Novak Djokovic's dream to win a record 25th Grand Slam title was crushed again as the former world number 1 retired from his semi-final clash against world number 2 Alexander Zverev. Djokovic's thigh injury forced him to forfeit the match after he lost a grueling first set. And with that, the Serb's controversial Australian Open campaign came to an end. Djokovic and the Australian Open is a prime example of a love-hate relationship, a Grand Slam that has given him so many highs And at the same time, it's this city that has given him heartaches too. It started with Djokovic accusing Australia of poisoning him back in 2022. Then he got into a bit of a feud with the Australian broadcasters after one of them seemingly insulted him and his fans. The last, of course, came during his quarterfinal clash just a couple of days ago against world number 3 Carlos Alcaraz. While Djokovic emerged victorious, his thigh injury sparked a row. His opponent, Alcaraz, mocked the Serb for his medical timeout by copying and limping around, accusing him of faking his injury. It was unfortunately not just Alcaraz. Prominent voices across the tennis world, including legend John McEnroe, claimed Djokovic taking a medical timeout has become a bit of a regular occurrence. McEnroe went as far to accuse him of lying about his injury. And when such opinions get loud, then it only finds home across social media through strong reactions, tweets, and memes. Some of them getting a bit of a smile as well, even if you'd hate to. But Djokovic clearly was playing through pain because he couldn't even play beyond one set in the semi-final, giving up a berth in the final for what seems like the first time because of an injury.
I didn't hit a ball since Alcaraz match. So until like an hour before today's match, I did everything I possibly can to basically manage the muscle tear that I had. But yeah, towards the end of that first set, I just started feeling more and more pain. It was too much, I guess, to handle.
And while Djokovic stayed silent and refused to respond to all of the backlash that he was receiving via commentators, players, and of course, the internet, his retirement probably was a fitting answer to all of them. The match was a shot at a record 25th Slam title, a place in the final, a feat that would have made him surpass Margaret Court. So he wouldn't have given up that easily with just one more left to go. Because it's not like he didn't try. He did his best. He tried to recover, didn't practice, didn't want to injure himself further, came out with a strapped leg, something he did during the Alcaraz match as well. But the semi-final against Zverev saw him pushing his limits.
I just wish this match today was a final. One of the most epic matches I've played on this court, any court. If I lost that second set, I don't know if I would continue playing.
So maybe he wasn't limping for fun. So what this does now is raise questions over everyone who mocked and accused Djokovic of faking that injury. John McEnroe, Alcaraz, many other prominent voices in tennis, and of course fans online. To think that a lot of that anger continued even after he decided he couldn't really go on with this match. The Serb wasn't given a proper send-off. Aussie fans booed him even as he was walking out of the court. And this wasn't the only instance where Djokovic has been booed. In fact, through the tournament, the Serb has only received hate. Now, I agree, Djokovic has fueled some of that hostility himself. The Poison Gate scandal, media tussle as well, but it felt like Djokovic has always looked to beat not just the player across the net, but also his anti-fans, many of whom probably saw him for the last time at Melbourne Park.
I want to keep going, but whether I'm going to have a revised schedule or not for the next year, I'm not sure. I normally like to come to Australia to play. I don't see a reason why I wouldn't come, but there's always a chance. Who knows? I'll just have to see how the season goes.
And if this indeed is going to be his last Australian Open, then maybe it is a sad farewell from Australia to an envious, illustrious career. He is the most successful player at the Rod Laver Arena, found little to no support from any quarter throughout the slam, barring the man he forfeit the match to.
Novak has done absolutely everything he could on the tennis court in the last 20 years. We should all just respect that in a way because there is nobody in this sport's history who has won and who has done as much as him. We should stop blaming Novak.
Zverev himself, probably the last person to support anyone who's found on the wrong side of the fence, but he sure knows how a legend needed to be treated. A bitter end of a campaign that looked so very promising. Lewis Hamilton's new avatar in red is everywhere. His pictures, videos, driving the Ferrari is doing the rounds, but getting used to a life in Italy will take more than just a change in colors. The first course of action would be to leave behind all the memories he's had with the Silver Arrows, forget the past life and move on to a new, fresh chapter. Will it be easy for the British driver though? Well, Ferrari is making sure it happens before the season kicks off. The Italian racing team is doing everything they can to erase Hamilton's Mercedes memories, both literally and metaphorically. How so? Our next report will tell you more.
A driver who's synonymous with the sport and, more importantly, the Silver Arrows. Seven-time world champion Lewis Hamilton will be seen for the first time in red. New season, new hopes and a brand new driver for Ferrari. A new signing that comes with hopes that a racer will end his title drought and a team that hasn't won the world title since 2008 will get back its glory days. But just like every other new partnership, one wonders how long before the two click and start succeeding. Because it's not just about a new gear for Hamilton, there's still that connection with Mercedes he will have to get rid of. A system that he was used to for over a decade, one that bears a very emotional attachment. But Ferrari is making sure they wipe off every Mercedes memory from Hamilton's head, quite literally. Yes, you heard that right. Ferrari are not just focused on making him their driver, they want Hamilton to forget what it was like to drive for Mercedes. How are they doing this? Ferrari is using simulators for Hamilton to be ready for the new season. Reports say the team is using state-of-the-art simulators to reprogram Hamilton's driving style completely, basically doing everything they can for Hamilton to forget how he drove a Mercedes and start getting used to driving a Ferrari, so that when the 2025 Ferrari car comes, the driver feels like he's only been driving a Ferrari. And Hamilton is happily complying too. During his first testing week, Hamilton was ecstatic. It was like a childhood dream coming true.
Driving a Scuderia Ferrari HP car for the first time this morning was one of the best feelings of my life. When I started the car up and drove through that garage door, I had the biggest smile on my face. It reminded me of the very first time I tested a Formula One car. And here I am, almost 20 years later, feeling those emotions all over again.
And it isn't just the simulators that Ferrari is using to make Hamilton their own. After every session, they take feedback to get in further improvements, even solving problems that Mercedes couldn't. For years, Hamilton felt the cockpit in the Mercedes car was not comfortable. Despite his repeated requests, the issue was never really resolved, which was one of the reasons why he left the team. But in Ferrari, his concerns aren't just being heard, but implemented too. The cockpit is positioned exactly where Hamilton wants it to be, making thousands who had gathered to watch the new man in red see this version of the British driver. But Ferrari is not just succeeding in erasing the Mercedes Impact 1 simulation at a time, they're also doing their best to erase any memory of Mercedes metaphorically. And that is through a fat paycheck. The driver will earn $100 million a year, more than double of what he was getting at Mercedes. So what do the early days from Hamilton's new relationship with Ferrari tell us? He's being respected, heard, and treated with utmost care. The perfect honeymoon phase to help Hamilton forget his ex, Mercedes. And maybe better food, great pastas and pizzas to keep the heart full too. Quite the perks to forget his last partner and embark on a special journey with his current flame.
Thank you, guys.
Time for last serve. While a normal skiing stunt looks mesmerizing as is, an Italian pilot decided to fly down the famous Trief ski run in Austria. We bring you visuals from a first-of-a-kind stunt. That's one dangerous but cool way to experience those icy slopes. But that wraps it up here on Firstpost. I'll of course see you after the weekend. Do take care. Bye-bye.
From breaking news to the day's biggest controversies, shedding light on the world's top headlines. Detailed analysis on the stories that matter the most to you. Catch it all on Spotlight at 6 p.m. India time and 12:30 GMT. Only on Firstpost.